Like when people, they don't believe me when I said I was recording in a tent at one point, this is the tent I was recording in. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. So I decided that we have all these lessons, and what would be fun to do on the channel is to take a look back at all the previous courses I've done throughout the years, because I have a lot of courses on my channel, and some of them are remakes of older courses that I still have on the channel, even though I might have private them. It's just kind of fun to see how you grow over the years and how courses change and why, you know, I might have deleted a course and decide to remake them. There are some courses on the channel that I'm not so proud of, to say the least. So what I decided to do today is record a video where we're going to go through my courses, and I am going to give my thoughts about the courses, and Bess is going to join me. He's kind of like on my banner. You can see him like right up there. Bess, I'm showing you in full view. You have to look up now. See? He's right here. Come on. You have like, why do you have this stuff on your face? Ugh. Oh yeah, this is actually my office. I don't think I've actually shown it around. Like I've kind of like, you know, when I make videos, I cut it off like right at the edge here so you can only see the dark background. And I do have some things in the background, like, but it's more like I only get to see it, but you don't get to see it. This one over here is actually a painting my wife did. She did this cell producing painting at some point. And this was the painting that I liked the most, so she decided to give it to me, so now it's like hanging right there. I have a guitar over here that I really wanted at one point, because I used to play guitar for some years, like when I was a kid. But now it's just kind of like standing over there. I don't actually play it that much, which I should probably start doing again. And actually above me here, I have a old Nintendo NES and some merch and my old black belt from when I used to do Taekwondo, like some anime merch and stuff like that. I have like books and gifts and stuff standing over here on the side. I also have a tarantula right there. Like it's like an inch away from you to be able to see it on screen, but I have a tarantula right there. But yeah, getting back to the video here, I have a bunch of courses on the channel that I used to do back in the day, and it's kind of like I haven't really looked back on them like for many years, like ever since I stopped producing them because I was so embarrassed by them, so I didn't want to even watch them, but I thought it'd be fun content to just kind of like take a look at them and tell you a little bit about how I've grown since then, maybe, because I do a lot of no things in my older courses, and still today I might do some things that, you know, a person who's been developing professionally for 20 years, they may do things a little bit different than I do, since mostly I teach. And when it comes to actual work experience, I've only had like some years in different fields. So like I've had 2 years as a multimedia designer. I've had 2 years as a freelance developer. You know, I don't have like 20 years of software development experience like some of the people teaching on YouTube has. So there's definitely some things that I teach, and then at some point, one person in the comments points something out to me, I learn it, then I go, oh, okay, so I've been teaching it this way for the past like 10 lessons or something. So I'm gonna correct it here in the next episode and just say, oh, by the way, guys, in those previous lessons, you had to do this thing instead, because that's apparently a no-no. So yeah, so I learned things too. I'm a student as well as a teacher on the channel. So I think it's a pretty normal thing that even though how many years you might have learned something, then you might learn something new that should be basic to you by now. And really the best thing you can do is just kind of like take that lesson and say, oh, okay, well, I admit I haven't been doing that, and then I'll start doing it in the future. And then you grow by it, and you know, make better lessons and so forth. But yeah, I have a lot of courses on the channel, and we're gonna do more of a casual episode today. You know, usually I don't want to have Bessa in the cam because, you know, not everyone likes dogs. So, you know, you shouldn't have a dog inside your cam. You shouldn't mention you have a tarantula right next to you, because if someone is arachnophobic, then they might not want to know that it's right there. I have a parrot in the background, by the way, who is right across from me. He has his own room inside our house. So he's just kind of like sitting in there talking and sometimes saying some sweet things. And usually I cut it out in my videos, but you know what? If he says something this video, let's leave it in, because he does say some really sweet things. He also knows how to say prutskil, which is like fart, poop. And that's something I think I taught him. My wife taught him all these sweet things, and I teach him how to say nasty things. I think that's how it goes. Yeah, so we have my channel, and this is kind of like, I guess this is kind of like an advertisement for my courses as well, because I have many courses on my channel. I don't know how many people know this, but I'm actually a educated multimedia designer, and I have a bachelor's in web development, as well as an AP degree in marketing management. So I have quite a, I don't have a very vertical education, so to speak. I have a very horizontal one. So I know a lot of things, but I haven't really deep dived into one thing at like I said, at a 20 years software developer experience sort of level. So, you know, I have a lot of broad courses on my channel. I have, you know, web development, which was what became popular on my channel. So that's what I started teaching a lot of at some point, and people loved it. So I kept uploading it, which is also what I have my bachelor's in. But, you know, I do like a very broad spectrum when it comes to, like, you know, things that I know. I think all YouTubers reach a point where they start teaching something, or they make a certain type of videos and they do it because the subscribers want them to make it, but they don't really get to just like step out of that comfort zone and try something they think is fun, because what they think is fun to make when it comes to like channel content is probably not what the subscribers want to see. So they stay within that safe limit of whatever the subscribers want to see. And I think it's healthy to just kind of like step out of the comfort zone. It definitely took me a long time to get to that point, and a lot of convincing from my wife that I should get out of my comfort zone before I actually started, you know, making game dev videos and different things. So yeah, there's definitely a broad spectrum on my channel. So what I want to do here is I do actually have some hidden playlists too that we're going to go ahead and take a look at, and just kind of like see how, you know, things have developed since then. I think I gotta find it here off screen because I don't want to show my creator studio. I actually don't know if there's any sort of rules on YouTube about showing YouTube creator studio and like how much you earn and that kind of thing. So I'm just gonna like do it off screen here. Oh, date, here we go. I used to have a lot of videos on my channel, and back when I started taking YouTube like really serious, I had like 12,000 subscribers, and then my wife told me, oh, but honey, if you want to make this into a full-time job, then you should like put all the effort into it, and you can do that. So I started taking myself serious, and I started removing all the gaming content I had on the channel. I had a lot of gaming videos, you know, with indie horror games. You know, it was back in like 2012 or something, when everyone wanted to become like a famous YouTuber that did gameplay. So I had a lot of like indie horror game gameplays that were really bad quality and with like a really bad camera and everything. But it seemed like everyone that wanted to see my videos were like web dev interested, and they didn't want the gameplay. So I just like removed all of them, which I kind of regret I did today instead of just making them private, because it would be really fun to see myself back in the day. I have one here. This is like my oldest video on the channel from what I have right now. My first logo ever, by the way. I was called Charmefis at some point, and that was like a username I made when I was in high school and actually elementary school, I think. And I sort of like carried this username with me everywhere. And why I decided that my YouTube channel should also be named Charmefis, I don't know. But it was. It means charming fart, essentially, like in Danish. And it's just like, it's such a silly name. Multimedia videos and tutorials, and had like fast pacing effects, and it was super cool. And okay. Like I said, this was like back in the day when, you know, everyone wanted to be a YouTuber, and there was like a lot of screen recorders out there that became really popular. I think nowadays everyone uses OBS. But there were like a lot of, you know, screen recorders, and Fraps specifically was very popular to use. I also remember like they took up like 45 gigabyte to do one gameplay, and I think screen recorders become a lot better today than, you know, so they don't produce that heavy of, you know, like files. Let's see, what did I actually have on my bar back in the day? I had, you know, InDesign, After Effects, Premiere, Photoshop, Illustrator. Like these were like some of the basic programs I was being taught inside my university. I was using Cinema 4D. I did also have Unity installed back then. Look at that. This is like, what year is this? This is 13. It says 2013. I was learning Unity, so it's not a new thing, okay? I used to be game dev interested back in the day too. Okay, so this was my very first ever really popular video that I made, which is why I still make videos like this today. Like, I might do one on a PlayStation 5 controller, but essentially I taught people how to set up a controller on the PC so they could play games. Oh, this is so old. This is like almost exactly 10 years old, according to the date down there. I really wanted to become a YouTuber, and the only camera I had was this old, it was like an old camcorder that I got for my birthday at some point, like back in even, I think it was like 2008 or 9, I got a camcorder, and this was the quality. It had like the, you know, when you record using like it records horizontally instead of just like everything at once in pixels. Like it had like that, you know, with the wavy lines when you start moving too much. This is definitely like an old camera from like back in the day. This was my first microphone. I don't actually have this one anymore. This is, I bought like the cheapest thing I could get online, and then I ordered it home so I could become a YouTuber. It's so fun to see. Like, this is me 10 years younger. 21, I was 21 years old at this point. I'm 31 now, by the way. That's why I can grow a beard and this guy can't. Fun fact, this look that I'm making here with like, I'm like, you know, like this is like my model face my wife makes fun of me for doing sometimes when I'm like, whenever they have to take a picture of me, and because I don't know how to smile, so I'll do like to try and look like, okay, you know, I want to look handsome for the photo. I still do that today, and it's like an unconscious thing that I try not to do whenever I take photos. It's just so fun to see. Yeah, don't get this software, by the way. I'm pretty sure this is like both outdated and full of viruses by now. Oh, whoa. Okay, so this right here, even notice I say the same thing. He said I say right after. At this point, I had moved out from my ex's place and I was living with my parents. So I sort of like got this little office space in my parents' house. I was sitting here. This is the microphone that I bought back then, by the way. Oh, I forgot this mouse pad and this keyboard here. This was like, oh man, I missed some of this stuff here. I don't even remember this webcam. Like, this is like before I got like a good webcam. This is like, what am I even using to record? Oh, right. I think I remember getting a new camcorder at one point, and this is the one I'm using here. This was from when I had to do like multimedia stuff, and we started having to actually like do like video production. I got a new camera. And I think that's the one I'm using here. Yeah, this is younger Daniel. Oh man, I haven't seen these videos in years. There's another one, by the way. Look at the spiky hair. I have to make sure that you can actually see myself. Fun fact, my weight back then was 69 kilos. Today I weigh 92 kilos, which, by the way, before anyone points anything out, I have lost a lot of kilos, okay? I used to weigh almost 100 kilos and I've gone down to 92. So I've lost some weight for the past couple of like 2-3 months. So I'm not this thin anymore, which is way too thin. And I've gotten a little bit bigger and bulkier because, you know, there's a difference between being like 22 years old and being 31. Like, you're gonna start growing out a little bit. So is that my script I have right there? So I'm sitting here recording myself and I have the script right on screen, so you can, well, I guess if the camera was better, you could see it. That's a weird decision, Daniel.
This is actually another one of those.
Look at me with the light shining directly into the camera here. So you know, I have to like black it out using a little filter in video editing afterwards. And this is my camera. This is the one that I got from I think my dad bought it to me so I could like start filming for like his company at one point. This is like back when RGB keyboards became like a huge thing. Like, this was like the first ever that was really like where you could customize the buttons, and like each button individually you could program to like make Pac-Man go across the keyboard and stuff like that. Like, this was a huge deal. And my friend and I, we decided to buy it. Again, still my parents' place, but this time a fewer things from my parents. I still have this keyboard, by the way. Oh, this is a gameplay! I used to play Call of Duty, apparently. Like, I haven't played shooting games for years. Okay, so now we're getting into some actual web development here. I uploaded this course in 2015. And this is actually not my original course, because I did have another HTML course on the channel that I deleted because I was so embarrassed by it. This was back when I did my purge of all the gameplay videos. And instead, I made this course here. Wait, okay, so there's like there's timestamps, but I didn't include timestamps. This is like an old video. Did my subscribers do this? Did they timestamp it at some point? There's like chapters. Who made this? I didn't do it. There's chapters on it. This was also back when I had a partnership with. Partnerships was something that a lot of people did when they wanted to become a YouTuber, and they take a pretty significant cut from you and they don't actually need to. So if you get into YouTube and you consider doing a partnership with any of the partners out there, unless you have a really good reason to, don't do it, because it's not going to earn you anything more. In fact, they're actually going to take a cut from you, which is going to earn you less. When you start out, I think they took, was it like 35% of my earnings, or was it like 25%? They took a lot of like money from me, and I wasn't earning anything back then, but they still took so much from me. And I found out that the reason you want a partnership is because they offer you like, you know, free music for your videos and templates, and you can go in and ask for help for certain things, and you know, like things that you don't really need if you know what you're doing. I didn't use a single one of their services throughout all that time that I was partnered with them, and they just took a cut from me. That's all they did. Like, they didn't do anything for me. The ads they were putting in my videos didn't earn me any more than what YouTube, like the AdSense program, does. So if you ever consider doing a partnership, just don't do it. I tried to leave them twice throughout my career as a YouTuber, and each time they said, oh, you know, we can cut it down to like, we'll only take 15% instead. And then I tried to leave them later on. They said, oh, you know what, we'll just take like 5%. And they just kept like decreasing it. Throughout this whole time, I realized that, okay, I should never have gone into a partnership to begin with. And this is not to criticize specifically. This is any sort of partnership. Like, they weren't bad to me, anything in that sort of sense. I was very happy to, you know, have them as a partner back then. But just partnerships in general, any sort of partnership out there, they're not going to benefit YouTubers in any sort of way. Channel update number 1. Let's see this one.
How's it going, guys? I'm back to a update.
Oh, this brings back memories. Look at what I did here. I was like, I hung up my my things. Like, this is actually the cheaper version of the one that I have right there. I have this one now, which also I bought this one because it looks better on videos when I wear a dark headset than wearing this thing. It looks like the inside of a Mercedes, which is not really what you should be doing. But yeah, this is like my my apartment when I moved out from my parents. This is where I met my wife, actually. She lived a couple of doors down, because this was like, you know, we had a lot of apartments next to each other. And Frida, which is actually right here, my dog, is the reason why I met my wife, because she would actually escape out from the fence right outside my window here. And each time she did that, she would run over to my wife's apartment and sit there at the door, like wanting to get in. And my wife had to get her and come over and, you know, knock on my door and say, hey, here's your dog. It was a really bad fence, and I kept fixing it, just so you know, like, I wasn't like, you know, oh, she got out. Well, never mind. I did actually try to fix it every single time, but she was like, she's really good at digging her way out. But yeah, like, my wife still today tell me that Frida is like 90% of the reason why we're together, because she was so charmed by her running over and like saying hi, hey, let me in. I don't think I had I might have like owned like 3 wine bottles the entire time. I just thought it looked cool to have a wine holder, because I'm a wine drinker, but I couldn't afford wine at that point, so I just had it. Why my dinner table is up on the wall like that, I have absolutely no idea. I think I still have that shirt too, by the way. It's somewhere in here. Like, when did I upload this? This was like back in 2015. Yeah, so this is getting a little bit older. I still have this microphone, by the way. It's this one right here. So I'm not throwing out things, I still have it. And that's my old cell phone. That's before I started switching to Apple, which was my wife's doing. She really wanted me to go Apple for some reason. Yeah, it's just fun to see, like, you almost like jump back in time. It's so clean. Yeah, you don't want to see the rest of my room here. Oh, this was my PHP course. I think this was my very first PHP course ever. And actually, no, I'm mistaken.
Back to our first episode.
No, this is my second one. Just like with the HTML one, I deleted the older course because I was a little bit embarrassed by it. So I uploaded this one instead. And this one is like my very first serious attempt at trying to like get into PHP. And this course was actually ongoing when, you know, before I met my wife, and then I met her and she said, you know what, honey, you should go serious on YouTube. And then at some point later on in these videos I suddenly switch into a more professional mood or something. Let's try one of the later videos. Like this is still, by the way, the course that people are learning from today, because I do have an updated PHP course, but I never really finished it. So this one, it's still relevant, but you know, there's some things inside this course here, like for example, sanitizing data when you send it over from another page. You know, if the user types something and you have to sanitize it. I don't really teach that in this video, of course, I think. So even though everything is correct in this video here, there are some practices that you should look into yourself. So when you send over data, for example, should you do something to it to make it more secure? You know, I don't teach that in these videos, but I just show how to do it in a really rough way that is seen as a little bit unsecure. So like I teach things correctly, but not in a production level ready sort of way. Error handling, the hashing and dehashing, like I set these to private and then I made a new version of them because probably there was something wrong with them. Just to kind of like show that I do actually update my courses, and whenever I see something like majorly wrong, I take down the videos and I create a new version of it. So just to like mention, like my videos, you know, if they're not private, then they're not like wrong in any sort of way. Oh, another vlog. Where are the new tutorials? I say with like, you know, really aggressive writing. What happened to the desk? Oh, the desk is on the ground now. This was actually, I just started like wearing glasses. I still have glasses that I should be using, but when I like record videos and stuff, I don't actually wear them, you know, in my everyday either, but I should. My wife, by the way, she hates when I do that to my hair, and I'm pretty sure that's what I've done now too. This is like the exact same haircut, except like right now, I just took a shower before making this video, so I could just like do it without any sort of like product in my hair. But back then I was like using products. By the way, I get comments almost at a daily basis telling me that I look like Elon Musk's son or something. Like people keep comparing me to people, especially Elon Musk pops up like daily. I can't see it. My wife says maybe it's kind of like with the eyes or something, but like I don't think I look like Elon Musk, do I? And it's always like, oh, I don't know if I'm the first one to say this, but you kind of look like Elon Musk. And then I'm like, oh, well, you're not the first one to say it. People have said it plenty of times. Not that I get offended by it. I think he's a handsome fellow, but you know, he has to be, right? If I look like him, he has to be handsome, right? Yeah, it's just fun to see, like, you know, diving back in time like this. It's like a time capsule. I guess that's one of the things, like, I'm not the type of person who make like, you know, home videos or take photos all the time. My wife does. She does constantly to like, you know, try to record our life as we go through it. And me, I'm just like tossing things away, like the old gameplays and stuff. Like I'm tossing it away if I don't like it. Like I don't have anything saved. Oh, this one. Oh, this one's private. I can't show this one. I got the VR headset when it just came out. Like this was back when I was working as a multimedia assistant at a company that produced food here in Denmark. This was the first time ever I received a good salary because I was piss poor all the way up till then. Like I had never known how it felt like to have money. And when I started working this job, which was actually on a contract, so I only had to work there 2 years, I finally had money. So I bought the VR headset when it just came out and I was so excited about it. And I had a friend over who was actually testing it out. But I can't show it because I need permission for that. Oh, I started teaching JavaScript. Oh, I actually wrote in the description here that I have a updated course in the description. So let's go ahead and see this one. This is the old one.
Today we're gonna have our first lesson in JavaScript.
Is it just me? Does all my tutorials look the same? There was no face cam, it's the same editor. At least I knew how to zoom in this time around so people could actually see the text in there. Updated 2018 course in the description, which by the way, oh, when we get to that one, that's when I start using Facecam, and I was not, like I was in a crisis during that period of how I should look like when it came to like do my hair and my face and everything just looks weird. Why did I disappear for 2 weeks? This was back when I was kind of like getting a little bit sick of doing web dev stuff. What year is this? This is 2016. I was getting tired of like doing web dev tutorials. and people on my channel wanted me to keep doing it, so I kept doing it. And then in 2020, I think, I got really burned out about it, and that's when I announced on my channel that okay, I can't do this anymore. I have to like start doing something that makes me like really excited to do on the channel, which was game dev. But this kind of like proves to show that like 2016 was like when I started getting burned out, but I still kept pushing for web dev tutorials. Like today, I'm in a more refreshed, replenished sort of place. Also because I'm in a mindset now where I actually feel like, you know, I feel like I can upload whatever I feel like for example, this video here, like I'm in a place today where the channel is my channel, it's not my subscribers' channel, so I can do whatever I want. But of course, I do wanna please people. This, by the way, I actually kind of love this. This was like, I tried to make a website for my course here. I was working on it locally. I love how this little logo here, I had like and I still do today, I have a color for each lesson. So PHP has one color, object-oriented PHP has a slightly darker version of the yellow, HTML is blue, JavaScript is red. Like I have all these different colors that I do and still do on my thumbnails today. I really love this design. I love how you can see the lessons on the side here. Like this was like, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm not a very good designer. I'm good at learning technical things, but when it comes to design, I'm kind of like iffy when it comes. It takes a long time to come up with a design, is what I'm trying to say. This was back when I was called Tuts. This is my old logo. For the people who's been here for a long time, you might recognize these, because, you know, this is like what I used to be called back in the day. Tuts. By the way, that stood for multimedia tutorials, not web dev tutorials. Yeah, this is like so cool. The blue one for the HTML course, and you could download the lessons materials on my thing here. This was before my lesson material became a member thing. I don't know if you know this, but YouTubers earn like very different money depending on what they do on YouTube. Like a person that does like like popular videos about the latest news or something within like celebrities or video games and that kind of thing, they earn a lot of money really fast, and then it like declines very fast over time. Whereas people that does teaching videos, they earn a little bit of money, and maybe if it takes off, they'll earn a little bit more later on. So like, teachers on YouTube, they earn no money at all. And back then, my lesson material was free, and I actually asked my subscribers in I think a video, or was it a poll or something, if they were okay with me putting my lesson material inside Patreon, so I could actually earn a little bit on the channel. Because like I said, you earn barely anything when you're teaching on YouTube. Like you have to be really niche, like only do PHP on the channel and that's it, and nothing else. And then you get like maybe a lot of views on your teaching videos because people know they can come to you for PHP. But because I do such a broad variety of things, like people, they tend to see, oh, okay, so he's not uploading PHP anymore, so I'm not gonna come back to this channel. And then, I lose people over time. It's kind of like they come into the channel, subscribe, and then they leave again, which is why I have so many subscribers, but I have so few views on my videos. That's because people come in, they get what they want, and then they get out again, essentially. So I asked people, like, are you okay with me putting this stuff on Patreon? And people were overwhelmingly saying, yes, do that, because, you're doing videos that we like to see, and you should be earning something for it. So I put my lesson material on my either YouTube membership or Patreon. And I just want to point out, I'm not doing anything inside those lessons that I'm not doing in the videos. There's not like a paywall or anything, like you get first part for free, but you have to pay for the rest. Like I'm not doing anything like that, because I'm a very strong believer, and that's why I started the teaching channel in the first place, that education should be free, because that's what it is here in Denmark. It's free, and people that pay for it, especially in the US, when they go to like colleges and stuff, like they go in debt for the rest of their lives to like study. And I know other countries as well, like some people can't even afford going to school. So having stuff like this for free is just something I'm a strong believer in, that you should be able to have. But I'm happy that my subscriber allowed for me to put stuff on Patreon for me to earn a little bit extra. Because even today, like Patreon isn't doing too well right now because of the whole Corona crisis and all that, but it is still kind of what is keeping me afloat right now. Barely, but it is. So Patreon is still a thing, and YouTube membership is still a thing for people who want to get my my lesson material. So I think I'll put a small ad in here for people who might want to support me in that sort of sense. Then I did another controller video. Oosh.
Episode, we're gonna talk about how to connect the Xbox One controller to the PC.
Oh, you can see all my games here. I was like a horror game fanatic. Like I played a lot of horror games. Look at the apartment down there. Submit your suggestions on Twitter. What is this? I have no idea what this is. I recognize the thumbnail.
How's it going with this YouTube channel?
Oh, right. I have a Twitter that I don't ever check. I started a Twitter back then. I'm one of the worst people in the world when it comes to like checking social media. Like when it comes to community-based things, I never check it. Like I'm so bad. I have a Discord for my channel. I don't know if you know this, but members have access to a Discord. I have like one person, because I checked it like a couple of days ago, like one person went in and said, hey, you know, to like see if anyone was in there, but no one is. But I have a Discord for members, and I should probably get into it a little bit and just like set it up properly so people could actually go into a place to get help from each other. It's just like whenever it comes to like having to maintain something like that, I'm really bad at it. So I don't know. Yeah, I have it for now. We'll see what happens with Discord in the future. But this is Twitter. Wait, is that the address for Twitter? Do you use a hashtag and then you... I got a comment. By the way, I check all my comments on my channel. As soon as I get one, I check one. But I won't do that right now because I'm doing a video. I started teaching Bootstrap in 2017. I did some projects in HTML, how to add a favicon. This one is very popular. Like my average videos from back then, like 2017, I got like 28,000 views per video roughly. And then I had this one HTML video, how to add a favicon to a website, which still today is like, I get comments on it today, which has almost 400,000 views. Like I have like these in-between videos that just become really popular. You know what? I think I can show this. Let me actually pull this up because I think this is allowed. There we go. Now you can actually see things because I was kind of blocking things, weren't I? So yeah, you can kind of see like how things are getting like view count wise, and like I have like these like random like 400,000 almost views, and then I have like, you know, 6,000, 28,000, 75. Like it really depends on what I'm teaching here. I'll get a certain number of views. Just kind of fun to see. Object-oriented PHP. I started teaching. What is going on with my creepy face here? Like I don't know if you can see it, but it's like super creepy. It's like, I don't know, I could be in a horror movie with that smile. Web dev programming guide. Yeah, let's okay, let's see it. That's the whole point about this video. Oh, this was my website I was working on. And it was online. It's not anymore. I love the color theme I was using back then. I actually think aesthetically this down here is very nice to look at. Look at innocent Daniel talking about these things, not including that many frameworks or anything like that. He's just kind of like, oh, you need to learn these basic languages. No need for frameworks, by the way. You could go into like these things, like JSON, for example. But do I even have like, oh, wait, there's more. SEO optimization. Oh, there's frameworks over here. Okay, I do talk about them. Yeah, this was my attempt at guiding people in the right direction when it came to like different things. Content management systems, WordPress, Joomla, Drupal, Umbraco. Is that how you say it in English? Like in Danish it's Umbraco. Because we like roll the R in that like that really like Viking way, like when we talk. Okay, so what else do we have? How to grow your YouTube channel, 2017. So like I'm talking about how to SEO optimize your YouTube video, and it only got like 5,000 views today, and it's like 2017. That's so many years ago. So probably not the best video to watch when it, like everything I say is relevant, but for some reason, you know, it just got buried. jQuery, oh, game development. Where can you learn game development? This was back when I was like getting like really serious into Unity later on. So this is like 2017. I was starting to learning game dev. That sounded wrong. Oh, this is old YouTube. Guys, this is new YouTube. This is old YouTube. They look so different. Like, look at that. What was I doing? I had like all my courses here, Photoshop, Dreamweaver. I have my face up here looking like with a goofy face. I have donations for PayPal. Do I still have donation link for my channel? Some people actually donated, but I was kind of like unhappy that I couldn't thank them, because it's so kind when people, they send you a random donation of like 50 kroner or something, which is like $10 or something. It was just super nice when people did that. So this is like old YouTube. Like I'm so glad they changed the design because it looks much more modern today. I think this is like, a lot of people were really unhappy when they swapped away from this, but I definitely think that this is not what it should be. Yeah, this is my old logo. I have the new logo tattooed on my wrist here because I swapped the logo from this one to a newer one at some point. All the rainbow colors symbolized all the different courses and the colors. But nowadays I use my face because I wanted to rebrand myself. I wanted to just kind of like, you know, actually show off that this is not my subscribers' channel, but this is my channel. So that's why my today logo is a face of myself. So I could just kind of like tell myself, Daniel, you have to remember, this is your channel. You can upload whatever you want to the channel. We talked, I was actually kind of advertising for, this was actually, if I go to my channel at the bottom here, you'll notice that I do actually advertise for 2 other channels that you can go and learn from. I don't actually know what happened to Clever Techie. He had such great videos on PHP and HTML and CSS and things like that. But he was also kind of like lost a little bit at some point, I think, and then he would return back, and it's just kind of sad to see how he stopped uploading. I don't know if he's still uploading. He might be. But yeah, I was when I put in Brackeys at the bottom there, I'm on his channel too, by the way. If you scroll down to the bottom of his front page, my HTML course, although it being my older one, is still at the bottom there where he's advertising for me. I disappeared from MM No! What happened to me? Where did I go? Did I go somewhere very important? Let's put it out here. Okay, Daniel, what is your excuse? Get to the point. I know the reason, Daniel. You got burned out. You were tired of doing web dev because you wanted to try and do something else, and you've been doing web dev tutorials for many years. You just wanted to like stick your toe elsewhere, just to try it for a little bit before getting back to web dev. That's where you are right now. But what is your excuse? God, this guy talks.
This is the first time I have an actual office at home that I can actually work from.
Oh, this is our apartment. Oh my God. Okay, so we moved into an apartment together after getting kicked out by our landlord in that previous apartment from the past couple of vlogs. He was a very nice person when you lived at his place, but as soon as he saw that you weren't really, like, he might lose you as a customer at some point, you know, not renting his apartments anymore, he suddenly like swapped personality completely. We wanted to move into a get-together apartment at his same place, but he didn't like that idea because he would lose 2 sources of income from each of our single apartments, and he just didn't want us moving in together because, oh, you know, relationships don't last and stuff like that. So he didn't want to take that chance on us, so he immediately just like kicked us out. I think like the point here, if you want to rent an apartment, do it from a company. Don't do it from a private person because they can like switch on you at the moment you move out. But yeah. We moved into this new place and we had to find something really quick because we actually were forced to move in with my parents for a little bit because I had to move back in with my parents with my girlfriend at this point. And it was just like we wanted to get a place really fast because we were burdening the place. We had, you know, 2 dogs, we had a cat, and it was just like, you know, we were taking up a lot of space in the house and we wanted to get out as fast as possible. So this was like the first pet-friendly place we could get, but the rent was insane. And this was actually a point where we dug ourselves into a financial hole that we had a really hard time getting out of. My education stopped at this point. I don't know if you know this, but when you live in Denmark, you actually get paid to go through an education. Like they pay you, you don't have to pay them. So like that ran out and I couldn't get paid anymore for my education. I had to leave my education because I started the next level of education. So like not the bachelor's, but the next level of education back then. I had to leave that because I couldn't afford it anymore because we lived in like a place like this. And this is like right before we moved out in a camper that I still have in the backyard, by the way. And I had to record my videos from a tent inside a forest, pretty much. Like it was like at a fishing lake, but it was like, you know, near a forest area. So we would live in the back there. So this place here, this apartment has a lot of great memories from when I just moved in, but like just months later, it would financially ruin us. And we were just like in a place of like, okay, we were actually looking at tents. on Google. We were sitting and looking up, okay, so a tent, because it was winter time, can we move out in a tent in the wilderness and survive? Like, that's the place where we were. And I was trying to build up this channel here, and I was trying to get into it and earn money on it. And like, the channel didn't earn any money until like months after we moved into the tent. Like, I was earning like 1,000 kroner a month, which is, I was earning $145 roughly a month on YouTube back then. So YouTube was not supporting us. We had to get supported by school and work, and I was working a job next to studying to afford that extra bit of rent. But we were paying 10,000 krona a month just to live there, which is about twice as much as you would pay living in a normal place, like a place that we lived in. And we really like dug ourselves down into a bad decision there. This place was also my first office room, where I had an entire room just dedicated to working. I was really happy about it, but like I said, it's like my wife, she thinks back at this point as being one of the best times of our lives, and I think about this as being one of the worst. I had never tried being this bad in debt and just financially being such a bad place before. So this was definitely not a happy time in my life. Like, I think back of it fondly for the first couple of months, but later on it was not good. Oh, we're gonna get to the fun stuff now, because now we're getting to me living in a tent. Okay, so we live in here, new upload schedule. Okay, so before we get to the tent part, let's see the upload schedule. Oh, I still have Kuramar. He's right here. Oh, he is, sorry. There's a spider web on him. This was my first gift ever from my wife, and it is awfully dusty because he's sitting up there. But yeah, Kuramar. Okay, so this is the moment where I started doing, like, my mindset shifted towards a more professional mindset. And I bet this is also the point where I started remaking my JavaScript course, because I was like looking at my older courses thinking, okay, this is not like the best ever, so maybe I should like remake it with the new knowledge that I've gained over the years. So at this point I started remaking things, and let's see, I continue my HTML, new HTML course, by the way. This is a new version of it. So this is version 3 of my HTML course. So let's go and watch this one. Still no face cam, Daniel. You're being so unserious. Okay, I was doing jQuery. That's right, I was doing jQuery while living there. I guess that's why I stopped doing jQuery, because I associated with my apartment back then, because it was like, oh, I was working so hard. Prepared statements, dehas and hash, which is, I called this decrypting and encrypting at some point, which is why I had to remake it into this, because it's not decrypting, it's called dehashing. Oh, now we get to the place. So at this point, let's actually, let's see this one first, and then we'll see the bottom one, because here I am living in a camper, I'm pretty sure, because we couldn't afford the apartment, and we were like, we sold everything. We were like just making it. This warning, this video contains really bad unprofessional video and audio quality, and I use a free video converter to fix audio sync issues. If you're an audio, okay, so yeah, fair warning to people here if you don't like looking at this kind of things.
I've not been uploading anything for about 3 weeks to
look at the non-commercial version of FreeMake, the video converter. So this camper here, my wife and I lived in this camper. By the way, what you're seeing here is half the camper. There's half more on the other side, but this is half the camper, okay? We did not live in a big space. So my wife and I lived here with our 2 dogs and a cat, and we had to make this work because we paid barely any rent living here. I think it was like 1,200 a month, like Danish kroner, which is actually just exactly what I made on YouTube. So at this point, you know, all my salary went to that, and then my wife's salary would support us afterwards. At this point, she was also like doing in between with educations and stuff, and it didn't really work out because we had to move here because of the financial thing. So, you know, at this point, we were living in this camper in the middle of nowhere with this like wireless internet connector that you just like plug into a power supply, and then it provides internet for you like a router. I still have it out in the camper still, by the way, because like I said, we have this camper in the backyard. So yeah, we moved into a camper, and I'm just sort of explaining it here. You can see my hair is a mess because showers were an issue there as well. We actually had to sign up for a gym in the city, because in order to get a proper shower, we would have to go to the gym to do it. and that was a half-an-hour walk from our camper. So we were like, yeah, we were in a bad spot at this point. And with that came the situation of having to record while I was there, because I wanted to continue doing YouTube, and that included. That's actually okay. I think it gets worse. I think I was still recording inside the camper at this point. We decided at one point that me taking up half the camper for recording YouTube videos was not really ideal, because it was such a tiny space either way. Like we couldn't live there in that tiny space. So if I also had to take up half the space to work, it didn't really work out. And we had this like front tent in front of the camper that, by the way, fun story, there wasn't a hurricane hitting us at one point. Our tent, I was up the whole night sitting with a screwdriver trying to like screw in screws to keep the tent from like blowing away, because it was like the worst storm we'd had in a long time, like many years. And that was, of course, the one winter where we were sitting in a camper and we were just like super scared inside the camper. We were like, afraid the camper would like fall over or something, because everything was shaking. And with that, I had to get outside the camper, inside this very, very old, crappy, old tent, which couldn't, like, everything was bent already, and I had to sit there and screw it in. Every time something blew off, I had to screw it back in, like, and actually kind of ruined the tent by screwing holes in it to like keep it from like blowing away and taking the camper with it. So we were like super scared that one evening. Funny enough, our neighbor who had like this super expensive camper with a super expensive tent, his tent didn't make it, but ours did. But that was only because I was up all night screwing it in, and my wife was sitting in there with like the dogs and like shaking, and it was a really weird experience that we don't want to experience again, but it's just kind of like fun. So yeah, my office, this is the point. Okay, so we ordered home this tent from America, which was a tent that is intended for like Antarctica and stuff like that, like going to like really cold places. And it has like this insulated inside where you can go in, and it's a little bit soundproof. You can still hear like cars and stuff outside, but it's a little bit soundproof. But it was like the best we could get. I just like received a good salary for the first time ever, and we ordered home this tent, so I had another place to work from instead of being inside the camper. So I go out here. I have this like old camper desk that I'm sitting with. Is that a cola? Daniel, you need to clean up your desk before I start recording. But I guess I didn't have a lot of space to put my mess. So, by the way, one of the most awkward things ever is when you're sitting doing YouTube videos. And even today, like if my wife is outside the door, I find it a little bit awkward to like sit here and talk and do YouTube videos if she's sitting there. Imagine in a camper where like she has to sit on the other side of the camper with a headset on to block out the noise that I'm making, so I at least feel a little bit secure enough to do my videos, because I was insecure when I was recording them. So this was a blessing, and even though I knew she could still kind of hear me, at least it was not inside the camper right next to her recording videos, because we would literally sit like this far apart when I was recording. But we got this tent here, and we still have it. It's actually, I just hung it up. Like, this tent got ruined in a storm when we had it on the backyard here not long ago. I think it was last summer, so like one and a half year ago. And I took the inside part, the insulated part, and I hung it inside my camper now for drying. And I was kind of afraid that it was going to mold up the camper, but it didn't. So that turned out fine. Improve your learning experience on my Patreon. This was the point. This was the turning point. I asked my subscribers, are you okay with lesson material going on Patreon? And everyone was so nice about it. And I was messing around with my audio quality at this point, and because there was so much background noise with cars and trucks, it was right next to a highway, by the way. It was like out in the countryside, but next to like this big highway, like 100 meters away from us, but it was still close enough for like, if you know trucks, you know they're loud, especially if it's a highway. So we could still hear it, and I had to do a lot of like noise cancellation. I still get comments today saying, oh, your audio sounds terrible. Like, it really sounds like you've overdone your audio in post-production. That's because I was blocking out a lot of noise.
Now, before we get into the video, I would
it
like
sounds
to
so
thank
bassy.
you all. Instead, it's only because of my subscribers that I was able to actually jump into Patreon. So again, I just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
In this video, I'd like
and
to...
still, by the way, today, thank you so much for letting me do that. I do still get occasional comments, once every 3 months of a person saying, "Oh, you're not giving it away for free. This is a paywall. You're gatekeeping content from us." And I can't leave comments like that alone. I tried to tell them, my subscribers told me I could do it. There's nothing in those lesson materials that is not on the videos today. Like, you get everything for free in the video. Lesson material is only to support me, or if you want to compare your code with mine, if yours is not working. There's nothing in those materials that you're not getting in the video. And I still today feel bad about having the lesson material on those pay places, but it's something that keeps me afloat still today. So it's something that I'll keep doing. Man, this was a rough time in our lives. But fun fact, I still think back about this time as being a very happy point in my life, because it allowed us to dig us out of the financial hole that we dug us into in that apartment. It was draining us every single month, that apartment. And this place here was just like a fresh start. Like, that's how I think back on it. So even though we lived in a horrible living space situation in a camper in the middle of nowhere, it was a weird time. A really weird time. So yeah. Oh yeah, I was showing 50,000 subscribers. Okay, so I went from 12,000 to 50,000 in a lot of years. So when did I start? I started in 2013 roughly. And it took until 2017, so 4 years after, I finally, actually almost 2018 here, I finally reached 50,000 subscribers.
That could actually pass out.
This is half the camper, by the way. This is half our living space. And it was Christmas time. I ate chili on camera to do a chili challenge, I guess. It was a thing that my wife's younger brother, who was not very old at this time, he was very happy about eating chili and chili challenges. So I kind of did a little bit for him. This, by the way, this is a electric heater. This one thing kept us warm during the winter, and it was so expensive to leave on that we had to leave it off a lot of the time. And we felt so bad about the place that was lending us this little space in the middle of nowhere to sit, because it was draining their electricity as well. They said to us, utility, you don't have to pay for it. But I think they kind of expected us not to have this thing. They were draining their electricity bill every single month. I told them we can pay a little bit extra if that's what they need. Because we felt so bad about this, because most people use gas heaters, but the heating system in the camper, this is an old crappy camper, so the gas system to circulate the heat was not existing. So we had to use an electric heater in this case here, and it was just, we felt so bad. Oh, look at the thing. Okay, so what else do we have? I made another video afterwards. This one is where I show around the camper. Oh, wait, is this after the storm? Our tent is gone and our place is trashed. And it says clickbait.
Hey guys, I just wanted to do another vlog episode since you guys liked it.
Our Pikachu Christmas calendar with chocolate in it.
Last video we did on the channel with the 50.
Home is where your Wi-Fi connects. It didn't even connect very well when we lived in the camper. Oh, this is the other half of the camper, by the way. So that seating place in the last video is right to the right of the calendar here. And this over here is the other half that you're seeing. We had to store things here. I was recording my videos in this little living space here before I got the tent, which is why I can see there's screws in the ceiling, because I had to keep up the foam that I have in the background here. Just keep it in. This, by the way, is new foam. The old foam I used to have for this is gone because it was broken by now, because we had to re-put it up so many times. Do I show the outside? Oh, this would be fun. Yeah, okay, so this place, I keep fast forwarding. So outside the window, outside the door, this tent here, this is where I do my recordings. When people, they don't believe me when I said I was recording in a tent at one point, this is the tent I was recording in. Okay.
Tents. I could actually show you guys inside the tent if you wanted to. And here we have all the mess. I know it's really dark. I'm gonna try to brighten it up maybe in post-production, but we have so much trash that just need to get thrown out. And then in the back there, so you guys can't see, we do have a small, not a forest, but a lot of trees.
Yeah.
So This is literally my office, and I think my girlfriend pulled down the, what do you call it? She closed off the tent. So I'm just gonna drag you guys inside and show you guys that there's in front of the tent that is also a mess because we haven't cleaned up the place yet. Gonna do that tomorrow.
This was, by the way, after the storm. And like I said, I saved our tent, but we decided sometime after to just take it down because it was so broken and busted. And we were afraid that something was going to happen to our camper because it was pulling in it. So we just took it down. And then this was just completely exposed. Like my office was just like, my office tent was inside the camper tent. So imagine this really crappy tent that came with the camper that is attached to the camper. And this tent that we bought went inside that. So now we removed it, which meant that this tent was completely exposed, and every time it was just like a slight wind, it would get inside the microphone.
I just thought it would be interesting to show you guys that everything right now is a complete mess. So before I can record again, I have to, clean up the place. As you guys can see, everything has been thrown around in here. My screen is over here.
Yeah, the storm actually knocked my my things. This screen that I'm using right here, by the way, is the same screen that is right there. It is the one thing I have left of my old computer, because when I moved out of that apartment that ruined us financially, I had to sell my very dear computer, like my prized possession. I had to sell it for just a fraction of what I paid for the whole thing because we needed money and we needed it fast. So I just got rid of it as fast as I could. But this screen here is the last thing I had left over. And it took some damage in that storm when it fell down, and there's actually a little bit of condensation seeping in inside the screen in the bottom left corner, and it's still there today, but it's good. It's not broken, so I can still see things on it. So it's right in front of me. I can't afford a new screen right now, because like I said, YouTube doesn't pay that well, but it gets us by for now. Even with 400,000 plus subscribers, it still just gets us by. But yeah, this screen here has been with me for a long time. I don't think I'll actually throw it out once it breaks at some point, because it's been with me for so long. This was the internet, by the way. This is what we had to get internet at our place. Like, this is connected to a power supply, and it gets internet from like the satellites, and essentially it did not receive a good connection because we lived in the countryside. We had to call the company to say, you guys are promising us that we get this fast connection anywhere. And they just couldn't explain to us why we were getting such a bad connection. It was because we lived in the trees, essentially. I have a cholesterol thing, by the way, a cholesterol disease. And that's why I have a little bottle there for my simvastatin, it's called, to keep my cholesterol down.
Actually our internet connecting there, so the internet is not the best internet when we live on.
Yeah, no, it was really bad.
We had to get it wirelessly from some kind of antenna somewhere. Okay, so the camera went out. Okay, the camera ran out of power. Well, not out of power. It also ran out of power.
My sweet wife laughing in the background.
Because I'm recording in a 2K resolution, so I can only record for 5 minutes.
I had to drill in extra shelves in here because we had no storage. It's like a drill shelf up here.
So
I feel like I'm depressing my viewers out by watching these. But just know that I'm not like I'm not thinking about these as like bad times. I'm thinking about these as the time when I got my life back in order, essentially. Yeah. So this right here. Come on, show it.
just a little further.
There we go. I still have this laptop because I like I said, I had to sell my really expensive computer, and I had to buy a laptop to do YouTube with when I was living in the camper. I used to have this really crappy laptop that couldn't do anything, and then we got a big salary at one point that allowed for me to actually buy this thing. And that basically went to upgrading my YouTube equipment, even though we probably needed the money somewhere else, to get by. But I was so invested in my channel that I was like, you know what, I'm gonna buy this computer. And my wife, she was okay with it. So I could start producing videos and not have this crappy computer that couldn't do anything. So I had my laptop hooked up to my screen here. So I had my notes down here, and then I would actually teach from this screen up here. Yeah, the microphone took a lot of hits. when we were living in the countryside, because like I said, storms, things, table being insecure, like the table would get knocked over when there was like a strong wind. So things were not really in a good spot when we lived there. All right, next page. No? Oh, we have more. Okay. I don't actually remember if I still lived in the camper at this point. Did I? Basically, I was making this snake game using JavaScript, and I did it in a really bad way. I have remade this. Hold on, let me show you. You can just kind of see the end here. I made it inside, the browser, a JavaScript game, but I remade it. So now instead of this thing, like without using a canvas for making it, I recreated it not long ago, and I wanted to make a tutorial on it. So essentially here you can see that we have snake. I'll just zoom in so you can see it. So X to start the game. Oh, we have snake, and then you can use the arrow keys to eat the little fruits there, but then it grows. So yeah, I kind of like remade this one. It's just kind of like a fun little thing. This was during the time when I was getting really into like, oh, I want to learn Unity. So I wanted to make something using JavaScript, just hard-coded JavaScript without any sort of libraries or frameworks or anything. So yeah, just a fun little project I recreated not long ago after learning Unity, of course. What else do we have? Oh, this is my new JavaScript course. Oh right, this was still in the camper. I moved again, so this is like back at the house now. Oh, this is not too bad. I just have curly hair. I look like Prince Charming with the hair. Not comparing my face, but just like the hairstyle. I can see why my wife should like this hair. But we moved into this place, by the way. I don't remember which room this is in. It might be the one just across from here, where my pet bird is right now. Our bird has the second largest room in the house for himself, by the way, just to point it out. But we moved, and I continued my JavaScript lessons. Did I actually?
Today I'm gonna talk.
Where's my? Oh. Did I remake the JavaScript course again? This is like an older version, isn't it? There we go. Okay, here's Prince Charming. What is going on with that hair? What is going on with that hair down there? Like, this looks so weird. I know you can't quite see it, but you can still see Kuramars here. This book, by the way, The Alchemist, that I have in the background, is a book that it's like the best book in the world. So if you ever get a chance to read a book, even if you're not book interested, this book right here is a really good read. I don't read books myself, but this particular book I do read. Essentially, it's a book about following your dream, no matter where you end up in life. So even if you end up in a good place where you're like, oh, this is good, like this is earning a lot of money, I'm comfortable. But if it's not your dream, then you should continue aiming for the dream. Like that's basically what the book is about. It's a really good book. And it's one that I was recommended reading in the US when I lived there for 4 years. 80K subscribers! Oh, let's see this one. This one is fun. Let's see what this is all about.
80,000 subscribers.
And okay, so now we get to the point where my hairstyle is, look at the hair tilting over the ears here. It's like it's not even behind the ears. I had chili plants, by the way. I was growing chili plants. They never really grew any chili on them and they died after a little while. This was the old foam from the camper that I decided to use here. And this was the new foam that I have right here. So I also got some new foam at some point. And I just had this like as decoratives. The Straight Lead, by the way, is also a book that I have up there still. I'm still using my laptop at this point. Look at this. We moved into the house and I was still using my laptop because I couldn't afford anything else. So, we were using my laptop, hooking up things to it. My new desk from IKEA, my wife has this desk right now. She's using that one. This desk that I'm using here is like a really old crappy desk. It's not a really good, like it's one of those foldable ones. We got this one in a secondhand shop, but this is one of the desks that actually fits in here without taking up too much space. So I'm not using that desk anymore. I'm using a much smaller one now. Oh yeah, because the audio went into the microphone, so I had to get another, because that really expensive RGB light keyboard that I got that one point that I showed you earlier, it went into the microphone, so that was an issue.
One of them is actually right here.
That's Frida.
She just had a haircut, so she's
she's rough looking. She wasn't that happy about getting her haircut at that point. Like she's not too happy about it today either, but she's better at it. Look at her ears. They're so big. She's much more gray today than she is than she was back then. Yeah, this is our dogs. This is Bella, my wife's dog when we got together. This is Frida, my dog when we got together. And this is Basse, the guy right here, sitting next to me sleeping. This was when he was a pup. And when we got him, he was like really sick, coughing up slime and stuff like that. And we then took him to the vet, like right after buying him. And they told us, good thing you came in with him now, because if you waited 2 days, he would be dead. So he had like a super high infection number, and we got that fixed. So that was good. But this is the current place that we're living. And you see that stuff on the wall over there? Frida, that's your fault. She was chewing on it. She's not doing that anymore because she's not as young as she was then. Photoshop tutorials. I started doing like Photoshop things. Yeah, like the Photoshop things was something I really wanted to do something serious about. Like I really wanted to like really go hardcore on Photoshop. I still today want to do it, but there's so many competitors when it comes to YouTube content that does Photoshop as well. So it's not like the best thing to get into that market for making YouTube videos. Like you have to really like do it well and be really good at pushing your content. But we do also have my 100,000 subscriber video. Way! This was a really big celebration.
It's really difficult knowing how to start this video because it's not.
Oh yeah, I cry in this one. Do I really want to see that? Oh, that was my little NES. This was my childhood gaming device when I was a kid. I had a NES and they came out with this like mini version of it with all like sorts of pre-installed games. So I was really enjoying that one. This was, by the way, when we moved to this place that I'm living right now, but the camper was placed in the backyard like it is right now. And I put up my office stuff out there to get a little bit more space, and I used the camper for my office space for quite a long time. It's only recent I moved back into the house because we had some issues with the electricity bill and everything when the war started breaking out in Ukraine. Things became very expensive electricity wise, so I had to abandoned this camper because I was still using a electric heater in there in order to keep myself warm in the winter time. So I couldn't afford it, so I had to get back into the house and just kind of like recreate my office in here, which I'm really happy with because it was kind of cold sitting out in the camper, even though it was nice and quiet and away from the house. Yeah, I was really happy about the 100,000 subscribers, and especially my wife is someone that I thanked a lot for this because she was the one who kept pushing me. My family has this like weird thing where my parents are really good at providing us with the things that we need, but when it comes to emotional support, it has never really been there. So my wife and her granddad are the people that have been pushing the YouTube channel and pushing me to keep developing this YouTube channel to the point where it is today. So, I was really happy and overwhelmed by the fact that I reached 100,000 subscribers. That was a big deal for me. New MM2 channel trailer. This was my first trailer, I think. Like my official trailer. Look at the quality. This was like, I was borrowing my wife's camera because she has a professional camera. This is really good quality. We do also have, this one. I'm not a very creative person. I tried to make, was this a Groot or Yoda or something? I tried to make using clay. This was during the time where I wanted to try something different. Like I was really not that excited about web dev stuff. Like I was still pushing myself to do it even though I was kind of burned out on it. What am I doing?
Oh, hi. Didn't see you there.
Okay, so I did clay stuff in our house, in our living room, by the way. I was trying to recreate Groot, apparently. I could still not grow a proper beard back then. I still can't quite today either, but it's getting better. Like, look at how patched it is. Oh, people hated this video, by the way. They hated it with a burning passion, which is why I took it down. This is not web dev tutorials. Like, people were so upset that I uploaded this. Well, what is this channel turning into? They said. I'm unsubscribing, and I was so scared because I just reached 100,000 subscribers, and I was like, oh, I want to upload this thing like as a treat to myself. But people hated it. And I had to take it down because I was scared that it was going to break my channel or something. So yeah, I took this down again. Important message, why I haven't uploaded for a while. Well, that's interesting. What excuse do I have?
Okay, so I just want to do a short Christmas update since it's been quite
Christmas
a while since I
update.
uploaded something up.
Ah.
Because often it is easier just to sort of continue or...
When I record my videos, fun fact, anytime you see a cut in my videos, it's because I screw up my English speaking. Because I mumble or I'll like all of a sudden do like a really loud noise into the microphone or something, because English is not my native language. So I screw it up and then I start over. And at one point in my life, this was really bad. I was psyching myself out. So my New Year's resolution to myself was to not cut in my videos. If I did something to screw it up, I would just keep recording and correct myself instead. Oh, hey, Basse. Oh, they can't see you. Want to be part of the video? We so handsome. So yeah, I did this New Year's resolution to try and not do that as much, which was like, it was a huge issue. Recording one video took so much effort. Like a 10-minute video would take me 1 hour to record because I kept restarting sections, and it became so bad that I had to restituir. What is that word? I had to rest my voice for an entire day after that because I screwed it up so much in an attempt to try and record a 10-minute video. And it was just so bad. So, you know, at this point, I think I was also psyching myself out because I wasn't really enjoying making web dev videos at this point. So, you know, I was trying to like make this persona, you know, like a perfect person talking. If I screwed one thing up, oh, that's not perfect, so it can't be my videos kind of thing. I like that I try to be a little bit more relaxed nowadays. I try not to be as formal as I was back then. Again, it came with a lot of pressure because 100,000 subscribers, that was a big deal for me. So I felt like if I made something that was imperfect, you know, like me talking right now and maybe like doing the wrong eye movement or something that's not perfect, then I would cut it out and start over. So I was really psyching myself out at this point. And my wife even asked me, honey, are you sure that YouTube is the right thing for you? Because it was so bad that I was in a bad spot, and I actually hit a depression at one point, where there went like a lot of months of me not uploading because I was so psyched out about YouTube and doing content that I wasn't really enjoying uploading, and I was struggling to, you know, record the videos. It was really bad. So let's see what else we have here. Web design guide for non-creative people. Like I said, I've never seen myself as being a creative person.
And I'm back again.
Oh, you can't see me.
Had a good Christmas and
Okay, my computer broke down. So I'm using experience design, which I think was quite new at this point. So I was trying to show how to put things up. And I see so many flaws in my design here already. I guess this is okay. This is not bad. There's too little space here going on, but you know, there's some things here that I would correct today. I still grow, like I said. Oh, and I started doing C# videos. Wait, this was back when I moved into a actual office space. Like this was when I actually started making a little bit of money on YouTube. So I would move into an office space, like a legit office space outside our house, and rent it. And the guy that rented it for me, he's still today the nicest landlord I have ever met. Like, he's such a kind person. He has a big heart for the people that move in. He's such a nice person. He's like this like really tough guy looking Viking-ish person. Like, he looks like he will beat you up. Like, he's really rough looking and like in a handsome way. Like, he looks like a real Nordic Scandinavian person that doesn't take for an answer. Wait, I can't say that because that's gonna get me demonetized. So I started making this C# course, and this was my first step after a long convincing from my wife that I should try something else than web dev tutorials. So, you know, I actually committed to this, and I also started talking about the challenges about it here, I think. Yeah, I was still struggling with being burned out about web dev. At this point, at lesson 11, I received a lot of comments from my subscribers saying, Daniel, we don't want to learn C#. When are you going back to web dev stuff? And I was really struggling with it, so I took a long break. So like April 3rd till April 29th, I uploaded this video because I was psyching myself out so much that I had to record a video where I said, okay, I'm struggling with this. I didn't say I was burned out about making web dev things because I was still convinced that that's just, you know, it's a job. You got to do what you got to do, you know, kind of thing. But it took me a while I was trying to quit doing what I wanted to do on the channel. Again, at this point, even though my wife kept trying to convince me to do what I found fun, because so many people wanted me to do web dev things. And as you can see, I uploaded one more video. My wife, she could tell on me I was about to quit trying to do what I found fun. So she recommended me doing a meme review where I could do something a little bit more relaxed on the channel that I didn't have to be as you know, strict about and professional about. So she made me do this thing. And then I uploaded one more C# video, and then I started getting back into web dev things because that's what people wanted on the channel. Oh, I found my old projects. Oh, this one's gonna be fun. Oh yeah, this is my older projects from like when I was studying. I'm reacting to me, my projects.
Put the audio on for you to like listen to.
Yeah, I was so young. This was like, how old was I at this point? Like not very. This was like 2012? 11 years ago?
Okay, yeah, you kind of get the idea here.
Yeah, I was kind of embarrassed showing it. I also did this little commercial for a thing called GoBuddy.
You know, like a screen recorder, like anyone.
We recorded like different places, and I was like, we used one of my classmates' apartment for this because he had a really clean place. Oh yeah, this one I made for one of my classmates. Like she had a kid, and the kid really wanted to be a YouTuber, and he needed an intro for each of his YouTube videos. So he wanted something like this. So I made this for him in After Effects. Yeah, I was kind of proud of it. I did some Photoshop stuff, some graphic art. Like I had 26 or something different portfolio designs that I made testing things out in HTML and CSS. I loved using myself, you know, sitting on things for some reason. But I had many different website designs. This was my what do you call it? First exam project ever when I entered the first semester of multimedia design. We had to make a website, and all these boxes here get animated when you hover on them. For some reason it jumps down to next line, and I think they may have updated something in HTML since then, because this was like when HTML5 just came out, or like was about to come out, so this was like way old. Things has changed enough for this to jump down to next line, even though I'm watching it in the browser today. I don't know if I still have these projects. I hope I do. And oh yeah, you can hover on top of the things, and they show in the middle there, and it's just kind of fun. This was the first website also we ever did when we started learning how to make websites. I didn't make the website because I was still so new that we had another person in the group do the website because she knew how to do it. But she remade their cafe with the menu and everything. So I think it looks really professional. Like this is all HTML just remade. Oh, my new office. Wait, really? Oh, so this was the point where I moved in with the landlord. So I did already start my C# course before then. I didn't realize. I remembered it as me starting there. So yeah, I'm walking my dog to work. And I went in. He even put up these soundproof things that he paid for. He also paid for my green screen. Like he invested in me when I moved in. He was such a kind person. I had my own bathroom, and it was just like super nice place to be. I had to cover up the window because people were looking in, because I was right at the entrance to the building. By the way, when people use the restroom, they use that pipe there. So every time someone flushed the toilet, I could hear it. And sometimes I even had to pause my recording because I had to wait for them to be done flushing. Oh, look at him. Look at his handsome little scarf. Oh, that's a bow tie.
Sitting there thinking, what the heck?
Yeah, why am I putting you in the spotlight? That's because you're so freaking cute. Stop being so cute. Oh, you can't see it, but this was back when I had a really bad ingrown nail. I had to get surgery later on. It took me 1.5 years to get to the point where my wife called the hospital to get me in there to have my foot surgerized. to get some of my nail root cut off. And it was actually I got hurt from the point when we lived in the camper, because I dropped the camper on top of my toe. That's why it was hurt so bad. And it took that long till this video. So as you can see, it's been quite a long time for me to actually go get my toe fixed. So, my dog peed in front of me, a vlog. I was starting to like try and do vlogs at this point, but it just weren't good. Gallery video using JavaScript.
Today we're gonna learn how to build a
Oh no. Okay, so I got a hat at this point, and I love the hat. And it looks stupid if I wore the hat in a t-shirt. So how do you solve it? Do you take off the hat, or do you wear a leather jacket instead? Which obviously makes me look really cool and rad. I just want to, okay, so in my defense here, okay, it was very cold in that office space I was living in because the radiator weren't working. So I had, again, an electric heater in there, but the radiator wasn't working. So I needed to stay warm, and I would actually sit in my winter jacket in the winter time when I wasn't recording. As soon as I had to record, I took it off and I was super cold because, you know, again, I didn't want to waste the guy's electricity because I was living there really cheap. So I didn't want to be a burden. 2020 changes to MM Tuts. Oh, this is when I wanted to start doing gameplays. This is the same office with the same ridiculous outfit. It was cold, by the way. I did say it was cold. This Hello There Handsome, this is where Bassett used to sit. And we kind of glued this onto the wall and couldn't remove it afterwards, so it had to stay. And I started doing gameplays. I did this one indie horror game gameplay because I just wanted to do it. Again, my wife got back to trying to convince me to do whatever I felt like doing instead of doing what was expected of me. So I tried doing indie horror game gameplays at this point. I also did like this Let's Indie game where I did feedback on 3 different indie games and I recommended them. Like, it was a really fun thing. Then I remade my PHP course. Was this when I moved back into that? Yeah, okay, this is when I moved back into the house. I didn't have the office space anymore. Yeah, so we couldn't afford the office space anymore, so I had to move back in here. And when I was doing that, I decided, you know what? Let's go hardcore on PHP. I'm gonna stand in front of the green screen and talk like a professor, and then afterwards I'll record whatever I'm saying in my recording here, and just like kind of screen record afterwards and try to follow what I'm saying. It was a really complex and really annoying way to like make videos, but it looked good.
I just want to mention that this is
I think it looked good. I think this is a really nice little way to do it. By the way, when I recorded these videos, I was still struggling with restarting over and over again, and I lost my breath when I was talking because I was so focused on talking that I forgot to breathe as I was doing it. Like, again, I was psyching myself out. And it just got to this point where, you know, I couldn't keep it up anymore. And recording, I would record like 5-7 videos at a time to get it over with. So I had something to record afterwards because I knew I couldn't use my voice for days after I was done. So I kept pushing myself, but I think it looks really good. I really like the setup here, and I'm actually considering at the moment, because this is the newest PHP course I have on the channel so far, and even though it is from a different time, I actually don't know what specific time this is from. Everything that I teach up until now in this course here is still relevant. So I am considering picking off where I left off with this video and just taking it from beginner to advanced when it comes to PHP. So yeah, let's see what else we got. I also have Goodbye MM Tuts. This was the breaking point. This was the point where my wife really got through to me, you know, because I was very depressed at this point. And when I say depressed, I mean like I was in a really bad spot in terms of my channel because I didn't really know what to do with it. I was so sick and tired of being burned out about web dev tutorials that my wife finally convinced me, you know what, do what you want to do. Start doing gameplays if you want to do that. Get started on Unity. That's something I talked about for years. You know, just do it. Stop doing web dev things. Go to hell with whatever the channel, whatever your subscribers want. Just do what you want to do, because I've been doing web dev things for so many years for the sake of the subscribers that I should start doing things for myself now. So I made this video where I was being very dramatic and silly. Look at the eyeball. That's like a money shot right there. Oh yeah, this is my tarantula. Still sitting right there. Yeah, I was being very dramatic and clickbaity. Trying to say, you know, I'm not deleting it. I'm changing my approach to the channel. I want to be happier, like with the content that I'm making. So that's what I wanted to do. I need to grow out my hair again, by the way. I love my hair in this in this particular case here. Yeah, so I started like rebranding myself. I wanted to do Unity tutorials. I was really happy that I got to this point where I wanted to do that. I wanted to do gameplays. I actually still today have the feeling to do gameplays once in a while, just to like upload gameplays to the channel. But right now I'm very fixed on that if I start doing that, it's going to take over from the web dev tutorials, and I don't want to do that. Again, not because my subscribers want me to upload web dev tutorials, but because I want to build up the channel a bit more, try to make the channel a bit more successful than it is right now. So yeah, I started doing gameplays, scary things. This is actually the old room that I used to be in. This is where our bird is in right now. I just want to say I'm sitting like right in front of the door. There's a lot of stuff behind, so it's like much bigger than you see right there. I wanted to like get into making my first video game, which I abandoned after 2 videos. This was right after a shower, by the way. Oh, look at the hair. Bessie had all in all a good morning. Oh yeah, the office building got broken into. Yeah, so a burglar broke into the office building. My place was the only place that didn't get ransacked. Like, they left mine alone, because I had a different entrance to the building that the other people did. And my space kind of looked like the basement entrance to the building, so no one actually broke into my place. I had an alarm system too, as the only person in the building. And I think the thief knew that, because I had like a sticker and everything in front of my my door to like show that I had an alarm system. So my stuff did not get stolen, but everyone else's did. Why am I back here? My wife, she was borrowing the office building at this point. This was before I had to move out of the office building. So I moved back home. My wife got the office space because I wanted to move back home instead. It was easier because I had, you know, Bessie during the daytime and stuff. So it's just more complicated for me to get to the office. And then after a little while, I actually ended up, let's see. Yeah, I was still doing Unity at this point. Yeah, this is the office space. Phasmophobia, this is the point where I started giving indie game developers feedback, even though they didn't ask for it. I decided that was my job to do. As a person who's been playing video games for many years and clearly has the authority to do so. Yeah, so 300,000 subscribers. This is awesome. I was using my wife's camera at this point because she wasn't using it at that point. Did a lot of gameplays here. I really did not want to do web dev things, so I really went into a gameplay period. People did watch it. This was a normal view count for me. It still is today. Like, my view count is still like this. And again, has a lot to do with the fact that I'm doing a lot of different courses on the channel. So people that subscribe to me for only doing PHP, for example, they're being served all sorts of things on my channel instead of just like one big course. So this is like me diving out to other things, also doing some animation things. Unity tutorials. This is where I began teaching Unity at a serious point. And they did get a lot of views. So like this is decent. This is for like a PHP course. So this is a really good course that I made. And now we're getting to recent videos. I think this is my PHP login system that has a lot of flaws in it. Again, if you're watching that particular video, go down to the pinned comment that I made. There's a lot of corrections for that video. Don't just watch it. I'm considering putting like read comment in description, or like read comment or something, so people know that there is a couple of flaws in there. Still doing indie game feedback, doing a lot of Unity. I did also at this point here move back into the house at some point. I think it's around, when did I move back into the office space? Yeah, channel updates. Yeah, okay, so at this point I had moved back into my camper in the backyard, by the way. So as you can see, I have like the camper window here, and I painted everything and I put everything up nicely. I also had to deal with I have some scalp things that I've had since birth, wet flakes, and I had to like cut off my hair to like just like reset my hair to a healthy point. So that's when I started doing that. But yeah, I have my camp out in the, I had my office in the camper. Really nice place. And now I can see we're actually catching up. This is 2022. I began making a asset flip game. I was actually kind of proud of this one, even though I had to I lost a lot of footage from this, but I still ended up showing the progress of how far I got. So this one right here, I really like making. This is inside here, by the way. Look, we're in current time now. Awesome. So now we reached the end. This is the latest video uploaded 2 days ago. So that's embarrassing. Now you can see how how quickly I upload this video. This was just kind of fun to dive back in time and travel up to current times to see how I progressed throughout my channel and what personal experience I went through in development. And I'm in a much better place when it comes to my channel today. I kept having these, I spiraled back into a minor depression constantly because I was afraid of doing something outside the channel's comfort zone, because I didn't want to upload things that people on the channel didn't want to see. But nowadays I'm just kind of you know what, I'm gonna upload what I feel like uploading, and I finally pushed myself to that point. My current plans for the channel, where I am right now when it comes to the content, is I want to continue doing web dev things. I did give you guys the option. I don't know if you guys saw this, and you're more than welcome, if you didn't vote yet, to go in and actually do that. Inside my community tab, you can see that I actually posted something during New Year's. I asked people, what do you want to see on my channel? Most people want to see JavaScript. So, you know, also PHP, it's very close, but most people have reached to the point where they said JavaScript. So if you watch this video and you want to push it up to 2,000 votes, then you're more than welcome to do so. But yeah, so currently I'm actually making how to make a comment system in PHP that I'm going to continue building on top of the how to make a profile page system that I just uploaded not long ago. So I just have to record that and then edit it and then upload it, because it is prepared. Is it really overwhelming when there's only half a bar, you know, compared to these two? I kind of get the sense that people want to see all sorts of things, which again is not the kind of thing that gives a lot of views to a channel, because you have to specialize in one thing to please all your subscribers. Where right now, if I were to upload HTML and CSS, these guys get disappointed. If I were to upload Unity, these guys get disappointed. If I upload JavaScript, then these guys get disappointed. So yeah, I upload whatever I feel like uploading at the moment. And for the moment, that is HTML and CSS, and I am slowly warming up to getting back into my PHP course that I have on the channel, the new course that I have, and then of course keep developing that one so it gets to a more professional point. It might be JavaScript instead of PHP. We're really gonna have to see there, because you know, JavaScript is also something that a lot of people are asking for, and JavaScript is also something that will continue to be just pretty much dominating when it comes to front-end programming for websites specifically. So I know for sure that JavaScript is here to stay for now. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed this little video and just sort of had a fun time seeing me react to it, since this is pretty much me trying to be myself, you know, not being a professional teaching formal type person on videos. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.